when he was. There was times this season when I was having a go at him because I was thinking he was running down a blind alley, only for him to actually get out of it and set up a try.
Yeah.
That's, he was starting to frustrate whilst, because he's so good, yet delighting every time anyway because he is just so good. I love George Williams. Then the other two guys is those young wingers, isn't it? No player in Super League made more metres per game, having played 10 or more games than Tom Davies. He was top 5 in carries amongst all regular wingers. He was also top 5 in average gain and in clean breaks amongst wingers. He had a great debut season. Wigan's joint winner of Young Player of the Year, and the person he shared that award with was the second top try scorer in Super League, Liam Marshall. His 21 tries came at a try a game. He was second to Greg Eden in most of the sort of counts when it comes to tries per game, tries overall, tackle bust per game, tackle bust overall, that sort of stuff. Tackle bust per carry, that sort of stuff. He was second only to Greg Eden in all of those sorts of things. He scored the best try of the season in my view, the one against St Helens on Good Friday. Mm-hmm. That was like gravity defying, unbelievable, and he scored a few other really cracking tries as well during the year. So well done to those three in particular.
There you go. I can't add a tremendous amount to your insight on Wigan because I don't have the benefit of having seen them as much and be a diehard fan.
Do you want me to say more negative stuff then?
No, not at all.
Frank Paul gave away a shit ton of errors.
Come on, I'm saying that we know ourselves. The only point I was about to make is Frank Paul Nuasala's a little shit. And you've taken that off me. No, look. The thing is, it's testimony to the high expectations that people have around Wigan and their reputation as a club that this is seen as a shit season. You were within a hair's breadth of winnings of bringing home silverware this year, and everyone's talking about how bad things are. I don't think that things are as bad at Wigan as some would have you believe. And I think they'll always be back and they'll always be in the conversation every year. It's just the way that the club is, and I think it's almost impossible for that not to be the case. Looking ahead to 2018, obviously there's loads to be positive about because the young players that have, through necessity, had to be blooded, particularly the two young wingers, will have yet more of a pre-season under their belt and yet more muscle memory and experience that they probably weren't expecting to have moving forward. And that's going to make a selection headache for Sean Wayne when you think maybe Dom Manfredi will be back in the reckoning, although that's still up in the air. The recruitment process has already started with the young prop forward that's come in from is it South that you're signing from? The young kid. So maybe he's another diamond in the Anthony Gelling mould in terms of what they've unearthed from the NRL to come in. So maybe he will replace Frank Paul Nuasala. Maybe he will make less errors. And so there's always going to be positives. And the thing about Wigan is there's very rarely that high turnover of players. So there's I can't really think of a period of time when you've
more
booted out 8 players.
Is a turnover in the thought processes behind some of the attack, because the attack was either exciting because it got us back into a couple of games that we ended up still losing, like Hull away, Leigh away in that dire run. But the attack was just dull for too many times. Like last year.
Well, we talked about it even last year.
Last year was the same, but last year we won stuff. This year, the attack occasionally came to life, but the defence was dog shit when that happened.
Yeah.
It was just so frustrating.
There you go.
We didn't have that. We didn't have too many of those games. You know, like Hull had those few games where they were absolutely shy, but then they had them through games where they were absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And they were also able to consistently beat top teams. Wigan didn't quite have those few games where they were amazing.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, well, that's kind of a low note to end the Super League.
World champions,
the season on that.
Just about for a couple
World champions,
months.
There you go. That's it.
Maybe if the World Club Challenge doesn't go ahead next year.
No, wait, no, I'm not allowing you to continue.
We can carry it for 2 years.
I will not allow you to continue calling yourselves the linear world champions. That'd be a fucking.
Who else would have it? Who else would have the trophy?
You would not beat. You wouldn't beat Melbourne Storm in a fucking arm wrestle. Never mind. Anyway.
No. But if they don't want to play Leeds, then Leeds can't beat them.
You were just the last team to win it. You are not the current world
reigning champions.
No, most recent world champions is what I'll give you. Okay, so that's Super League covered, but we do have people who listen to us from all walks of life in the rugby league sphere, don't we? Guys from further down the tiers. So London Broncos, Mark, let's start with them. Second in the championship, 6th in the qualifiers, out in the cup to Toronto, which is no real it's an upset in terms of where they were in the league structure, but Toronto are essentially a Super League side. And we got some fan audio reviews from two absolute stalwarts of the Super League pod.
Well, Dave Cantrell is the first one. He's going to talk a bit about the Toronto game actually, because it was a cracker. And Paul Campbell.
Paul.
Now, people need to listen closely to Paul's, because
It's pretty hard to understand.
I still haven't quite worked out what TV programme was on slightly louder than it needed to be in the background, so I want someone who's listening to tell us what that might have been. Take it away, chaps.
The Broncos had a great season, stuttering a bit in March and April, but basically sweeping all before them until the qualifiers. Our few losses were to Hull KR, who beat us 3 times, and I'm very pleased to see them back up in the top division. Halifax beat us once, but we got our revenge twice. Sheffield and Fev both beat us once before we put them back in their place later in the season. And Toronto beat us in a close, exciting Challenge Cup match that could have gone either way. Even in the qualifiers, where we only won 1 game, we didn't play badly. We just got beaten by the Super League teams, and remember, some of them were very close games, and by the team that got promoted. Fair enough, can't argue with that. The highlight of the season, surprisingly, I picked the Challenge Cup loss against Toronto. I took a Canadian friend along to her first game of rugby in either code. She's not come along to any more matches since, but she is at least following the sport a bit as she keeps being all smug about the Wolfpack's performance. I was feeling confident for next season until Henderson left. He truly deserved his Coach of the Year gong, and I could easily see us challenging for promotion again. Without him, though, well, it all depends on who they get to replace him.
The London Broncos season review. Where do I start? Pre-season was typical London Broncos, getting in players, average players I'd say, not enough to sort of push the club forward as much as we'd like. Started off well, had a good couple of wins, was unbeaten for a little while at home, and then went through that spell sort of around about Easter where couldn't win for love or money. Hendo made a couple of big decisions, dropped some of the bigger stars that we allegedly have, brought in a few youngsters, and then the attitude changed again at the club. Everybody started playing for each other, and all of a sudden, there it was. We finished the season strongly, finished at 2nd in the league, which, as I thought we would, I didn't think we was going to be champions. I thought Hull were a lot stronger than us. Finishing 2nd was good enough for me. Come to playoffs, once again, I thought we were very disappointing. I think a couple of games we should have won, should have beat Wire, should have beat Catalan. We were very poor against Fev. And at the end of the day, just weren't big enough, just weren't good enough, and that was it. The Broncos pack has always been small. Against Super League clubs, you need it a lot bigger than what it was, and that's about it, really. Can't really say there was many highlights, to be honest. You could say performances against Catalan and Warrington, but at the end of the day, they were still defeats. It's not as if they won't actually beat these clubs to say, we're making a statement. So there weren't many highs. Lows, probably really weren't any of those either. It was just a typical London Broncos season. You would think that it could push on for 2018, but with what's happened in the recent weeks with players leaving, the coach now leaving, it takes me back to sort of 2014 where there's uncertainty again in the club. Can they build on last season and the legacy that Hendo's left behind? it depends on who they're getting. I'd like him to see her get a seasoned coaching, but keep Ward and Langers on. But you just never know. Never know what goes on with London Broncos one season to the next. I think it's just going to be a case of waiting and seeing. Right, that's London Broncos fan Paul Campbell signing out. Thank you very much.
Nice one, lads. Well, I still have no idea about that TV show, so we're going to need a listener to get in touch with us. London's season is exactly what I thought it would be this year. I thought they would be up the top end of the Championship. I thought they would have a good go at things in the in the Middle Eights, but ultimately they would not be promoted.
Yeah, I mean, they were, the few times I saw them, they were really good.
Yeah.
They were enjoyable. They were entertaining. They had close fought games against better sides, and they played entertaining rugby to sweep aside lesser sides after the first month of the season when they didn't quite have it together yet when I first saw them. So it was good to see that growth in the side. It's just a shame that that might not continue into next year.
Yeah. Well, speaking of looking forward into next year, Ian Gatwood did get in touch and do a fan review that I almost glossed over then, and he said, so near yet so very far, and possibly our best chance of getting into Super League gone. It's going to be a very tough task now, especially with Toronto and Leigh in the division, and I would also add to that, especially having lost Andrew Henderson.
Well, I think that's what everyone says, isn't it? That's what everyone's saying, and that's where that's the thing. You want to talk about the season that's just gone, but with London, Ian's nailed it there. I think that was possibly their best chance, and it still wasn't a great chance.
No.
So we will see, because I want to see them back at the top level.
I like seeing. I like the club. I like the way that they've been run in recent years. It was a strange one that Henderson's going to be an assistant coach rather than taking a gig, but maybe that's how he views the progression. Maybe it's head coach in the Championship, supporting role in first grade, and then step out. Maybe that's the way he wants to do it. Okay.
We didn't have any other Championship audio reviews. We will run through a quick note on every team, I suppose, after, but we dropped down to League One with the next one that we got an audio review on, and this was possibly my favourite.
I love
my heart melted listening to this one.
It was fabulous.
This was the Toronto Wolfpack, who finished first in League One, as everyone expected. They got through one round of the Cup, as we just mentioned, then lost to Salford in an ill-tempered affair in the round 5 of the Cup for them. But we have the Simpsons.
Yes.
Okay, this is the Simpsons in Toronto, and we thought we'd do our season review for the Super League pod. It's Martin, Maya, and Andrea, and we'll start off with best moment in a game. Andrea?
My best moment in the game was with Liam Kay when he scored his 5 tries on Canada Day, and that made it special because they were all wearing their red shirts for Canada, and it was perfect to celebrate our 150th anniversary.
And Maya, your best game moment?
My best game moment was when Jake Emmett scored his first goal.
Why did you like that try? Why did you like that?
Because I liked all the fans cheering, and it was nice to see other players score their goal.
Okay. And for me, just overall, their defence, I guess. I know it's not a single moment, but against Barrow, I saw a lot of a good defence. It was a closer game, and I think that sort of bodes well for next year. Worst moment in a game? Maya, go on.
My worst moment was, I liked the game, but I don't like the fighting, so when they were fighting, I didn't quite like it, so that's my worst moment of the game.
Andrea?
I guess the roughness of the sport, but that's the nature of it. I would say, as a new patron watching these games, watching them being pulled down by their necks or drag across the field by their shirts, etc. That's hard to watch. I know it's part of the game, but that's always difficult.
Yeah, I know. I found it hard to watch when, and this wasn't done on purpose, but Leigh against Salford in the cup game, he broke his neck. Incredibly, was back playing in under 2 months from a broken neck. But yeah, that was certainly difficult to watch as well. Favourite player? Maya, do you want to start?
Yeah, I liked when I walked on the field with Liam. He was so nice to me during the whole season.
Liam Kay.
Yeah, and I liked all the other players like Crossley, Fui Fui Moi Moi, Dan Fleming, all of them.
Andrew?
They're all fantastic players. I think it's also the rapport you have with the fans when they talk to you after and come by and thank you and say thank you for coming. Bob Bezic was here with his family, and he's awesome, and his wife. Everybody was here, and they're nice. Greg Worthington and his dad were here, and